This is my great-grandfather's number 6 fore plane. I've never restored one before, so let's see how I go. Welcome to RJ's Shed Shop. I started off by breaking the plane down, and for a plane that is over 100 years old, it had just a touch of rust here and there. I had a bit of trouble getting the frog off due to the rust, so I used this unique soft hammer I found. Like an archaeologist, I chipped away at the 100-year-old plane shavings until I had the entire plane stripped. Now that I had it in pieces, it was time for cleaning. I filled my sink and ultrasonic cleaner up with distilled vinegar and let it go to work. While that was soaking, I turned my attention to the front knob and rear tote. Placing the front knob in the drill press, I hit it with multiple sandpaper grits. Then finally with a flexible pad. Taking the rear tote to the disc sander to flatten the bottom and reshape the top due to damage. Because I'm lazy and I love my power tools, I pulled out my detail sander to remove the bulk of the old varnish. Being careful to go with the grain, I spent the better half of my afternoon sanding the rear tote. That ultrasonic cleaner and vinegar worked great at removing the rust. Breaking out the needle files, I gave the smaller parts a clean up, re-slotting some screws and removing the burrs. First came the wire brush, then various grits of wet and dry down to 5000. As for the brass components, they spent some time on the buffing wheel. I spent what felt like an eternity flattening the body, making sure that it was square and touching up the frog on sandpaper and a flat surface. Struggling as you do to find the end of the double-sided tape, I stuck a piece of scrap to the plane iron and flattened it as well. A pencil grinder was great to get into all the nooks and crannies, slapping on some paint stripper to soften the old Japanning, and then scraping away. A small jeweler's screwdriver worked great for all the detailed bits. Masking up all the components ready for painting and trimming out all the sections with a hobby knife. I got out my makeup bag and cut up some Q-tips to block the holes, and then applied several coats of paint. And there's me struggling to get the lid back on the spray can. What a clown. Applying Danish oil to the tote and the knob. I love how it brings out the grain. With double-sided tape, I stuck down a small steel rule, giving me the perfect angle to hone down the back of my chip breaker. Due to the fact that there were about 5 different bevels ground on the original blade, I had to spend quite a bit of time getting back the primary bevel. Rob Cosman has great sharpening videos to watch. I finally got out the water stones and got that secondary bevel honed in, and then used the David Charlesworth rule trick for the back. sprayed on 3 coats of clear lacquer to give it the bling effect, and it was time for assembly. Removing the Q-tips and the masking tape was so satisfying. I fumbled my way through the assembly, and it was great to see it all coming together. My wife and kids are so supportive of any project I do that gets me out of the house. Well, it was time for me to put it to the test. It's so satisfying making shavings. Look at me acting like a seasoned pro. There she is. I love the fact that I have my great-grandfather's plane that not only looks good, but works a treat. Let us know what you think. So if you want to take on a project, get out there, legends, and make and create. I was so impressed. I placed my plane on my wife's crystal cabinet. I can't wait for her to come home and see her reaction. Until next time, thanks for watching.